Hey guys, this is Kyle Moody. I've been doing messages on Facebook and I started preaching messages just to help people get closer to Christ, to give comfort, to maybe be an eye opener for some things. And right now I'm talking about the Bible, some things that may be hard for people to understand or to believe is real. One point I want to hit is you know, in the beginning, you read about how I mean, this is after Earth was created and after Adam and Eve. You get to Abraham and some people, a lot of people in the Bible where they live, 400 years, and that right there, just in the beginning, reading that might sound unbelievable, but is it really unbelievable? Those are just some of the things I want to talk about. Um, with that, when you go and compare biblical times to right now, in biblical times, you didn't have cars. Cars alone are just they're a bullet. They've killed a lot of people. They've done a lot of damage. They've changed a lot of lives, and in biblical times, you didn't have all these cars. In biblical times, when it came to food, you didn't have all this fast food, all these preservatives, all these things put in food. Everything was just natural. Whether it was grown from produce, just straight from the soil, or if it's a meat, meat you just go and they went and killed the animal right there and went and skinned it, did whatever, and cooked it right there. They didn't have all this stuff that they put in meat now, these steroids, whatever they put in meat. Cigarettes is a huge thing. You go into Vegas. I'm from Vegas in Utah, and I go back to Vegas all the time. A lot of my family's there, and there's just so many parts of Vegas where you're just walking into just cigarettes. It's just all you smell. I mean, every time if I'm at my work at my store and I smell a cigarette coming into the store, it always reminds me of Vegas, because Vegas is just where I smell that. And in biblical times, you didn't have just cigarettes in the air so bad. You didn't have all the pollution and all the things that cars go and put out in the air. There's so many things that we've put out there now, where I just really believe that we've kind of chopped our lives down. And God, He's amazing, He's powerful, and I mean, He has a lot of He has a say of what happens. But with us, I just feel like ever since Adam and Eve and a lot of things, a lot of stories, especially after Jesus Christ, He's just kind of let it up to us, and just there's a lot of tests in life, and He guides you through and He helps you through. But when it comes to life itself, I just feel like He gave us these lives, and we've chopped down our lives shorter and shorter. And I mean, in biblical times, there's so many things that were so different in how people lived. Stress alone can go and just cause heart attacks and just take your body down. I mean, it's just your mind is a very powerful thing. I mean, there's in the movie with Rocky Balboa called Creed. It's the newest Rocky Balboa movie, but it's about Creed, about the guy that he fought. Rocky Balboa fought his son, and there's a part where he's facing the mirror and he was saying, your biggest opponent, your biggest enemy is gonna be the guy in the mirror, and that's true. I mean, us, when we don't have faith and we don't have strength and just everything, we're the ones that can take ourselves down. And when it comes to the Bible, there was so much more faith, there was so much more strength, and marriage also. In marriages, people just didn't quit. There wasn't so much quitting involved and just easy ways to make. Everything was just, you had to earn everything, and for food you had to grow it. You didn't just go somewhere to go get your food. Fast food, I mean, burgers and all your meat, we have it already cooked and all that. Back then, I mean, gosh, I mean, you go kill an animal and cook it on, who knows how they cooked it up above a fire. So many things that are different. And so again, on biblical times compared to now, that's just a huge thing. When it comes to the Bible, you really have to compare a lot of things now. And one second, I want to get some water. Um, and miracles. There's a lot of things when it comes to miracles. Also, a lot of there's I feel like a lot of people are blind to the miracles that are out there, and they might not be as dramatic as Moses going and splitting the seas, and just seeing God and bushy fire. I mean, it's just a lot different. We have Him inside us now. It's the Holy Spirit, and so a lot of it is following your heart. And when it comes to miracles, God does a lot of miracles through us. Someone having a heart to go and care for someone, to enough to just want to go be a doctor, to just go care for everyone. That is a very godly thing. It's a thing that God calls us to do. And I when I see jobs where people are always helping people and stuff, right there, it's just that's exactly what God calls you to do. And you would be surprised on how much He does through you. When you follow His direction, when you follow, caring for someone and helping someone. And when it comes to miracles, there's just so many people that say, oh, well, you just don't see miracles happen anymore. And there are tons of miracles out there. All you have to do is open your eyes. I'm gonna look at my notes on here, and we'll talk about more things that I wrote about this point about the message of Bible and everything. Back in this time, there was still burnt offerings, sacrifices. I just got done reading a chapter of Leviticus, and Leviticus is just straight, sacrifice after sacrifice. Just so it's kind of a gory chapter. You just see a lot of slayings of animals, and a lot of things for people to be forgiven, or a lot of things where they had to do this for 7 days to be ceremonial clean. And there was just a lot of work then, and sacrifices, and a lot of God's work that needed to be done. But it all ends with Jesus in the Bible. And with those two, we have a guide and a path to trust, and we no longer needed sacrifices due to Him sacrificing Himself. And it's something I just wholeheartedly believe in. But that doesn't mean that we just do whatever we want. It's also it was His ending, but it was also a whole nother beginning. Because He never died. He's in us, and He's we work through Him all the time, and He works through us all the time. But Jesus was our final sacrifice. And our beginning of knowing what happens after this life, our hope. There is much more after this, and if we trust in Him, you will find such an incredible will to always go on. There was a message where guy talked about refuge, and if you look it up, you'll find out what refuge means. And one example was a lighthouse. And a lot of people, that can be someone's refuge. They're surrounded by all these waves and just everything coming down, but in that lighthouse they're safe. And that's how it is with life. In our life, we're just we live in a world now where you can just do good, but someone can do bad on you. And we can make mistakes and do bad on other people and not mean to. It's just a world that we're born into and live into. And a refuge. I have the Lord as my refuge. As everything comes down on us, we've had a lot of struggles, and maybe one day I'll talk about the struggles that we go through sometimes. But really, though, a lot of struggles that we go through, I have Him as my refuge. I just have His arms holding me, and just Him guiding me, and it's just the best feeling. And if no one's there, I would just suggest that you message me. If you ever need some advice, some comfort, I'm all about it. It's what God calls me to do. If I could make a point, though, tonight, it's just to trust in the Bible. Believe in the Bible, learn from the Bible. Use it like you're hungry and it's your food. If you don't believe in people living 400 years and lose interest, check this out. If you look nowadays, just like I was saying, people can get to 100 or a little over now. And that's with the cars, that's with all the stuff in the air, that's with the cigarettes, the drinking, just so many things that we've done to weaken our livers, our lungs, and just all those things. Cancer and things like that. I almost wonder if that is just a big fact of just everything we've gone through generation after generation. I mean, we could go and look at ourselves and say, you know what, hey, I don't smoke, I don't drink, I eat healthy. But you don't know if someone in your family or ancestors or who knows how far big, or how far big, it just kind of put something in your DNA to where you might have a health problem. And but you know what, no matter what though, you always hang in there through whatever health problem. There's some people that are just born with so many things, and then there's people that can go 5-10 years without having any problems. And sometimes to be able to look back and just know that you did have a good moment at some time, it's just great. You always have to look at the pros over the cons. You always have to focus on the positive, and you just the best thing I could tell you is just use that towards God. Use it to put towards God's glory. Be strong for Him. And if you're going through a lot, if you have a lot of stuff where people see you're going through it, hang in there, be strong, and give it to God, and He'll help you. He'll help you be strong. And you would be surprised if you have a lot of stuff going on. You'd be surprised. Your strength can really empower other people. And even though you might feel like things are really hard right now, hang in there, because you might be a hero to someone else and you just don't know it. But back to the Bible though. I'm kind of looking at my notes. We already talked about the living 400 years and things like that. And I'm going to look over here. So we shorten our lifespan. People used to fix things that were broken. That is a huge thing that I know that a lot of people can relate to. When I read, people like, hold on, sorry, I'm just reading all this stuff. Okay, hold on, I need to pause this. Okay. So I just had to pause this for a second. It looks like I only have 2 or 3 minutes on my phone, so I'm going to just keep going for this last couple minutes, and then I will just do a second video, and it'll be continuing on this message. Another thing I want to talk about and keep going on about the Bible and things that are hard to believe is, you have to go before Christ and after Christ, and there's just some things that you don't hear anymore. And like Moses splitting the sea, people living 200 to 400 years, and that is another thing where I believe with it ending with Christ, that you don't hear of things anymore, because there needs to be no fear in death, for He has proven that there is more and that there is life after death. Before we didn't know anything about that, but through Christ we know there's life after death, and we always know there's something after this. Before Christ, there was hope with God helping with the miracles, as you read. But after Christ, it's really become more healing and trusting and believing in some things that sometimes isn't right in front of you. There's a thing where it says, faith, you walk by, oh, how am I forgetting this? It's not walking by sight. I'm having a really big, just kind of brain fart, but it's just walking by faith, not by sight. Yeah, there we go. It's just walking by faith, not by sight. And there's just a lot of things where they're really not in front of you, like back before Christ, where you just had God's crazy miracles just happening all around. But so much of what He wanted, or what He wants, is for you to listen to those before and then after they did amazing things. Hold on, I'm kind of having okay, so sorry, I was just reading and getting my notes kind of confused. But really what He just wants you to do is just listen, like so many people in the Bible did. They listened to the heart, they followed Christ, and there were so many miracles and things that happened after that. And I would just choose and encourage you to have faith in the Bible. If there's things that you don't believe, talk to someone about it. Go and compare things, because there are still a lot of miracles out there. There's still a lot of things happening out there. And I'm just going to close out with just when people living 200, 400 years,